A very warm welcome to this week, 60 minutes of analytical review of the big stories, topical issues and all the controversies around the world. I'm Somna Sambo, and in the headlines, Atiku will be head to Supreme Court after rejecting presidential election court judgment as Tinubu's government savored victory on its 100th day in office. And main opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, fumes over election judgment, says verdict lacks substantive justice and blasts Vice President Kashim Shettima over comments on Atiku. Stay with us as we bring you these details. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, and his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, are heading to the Supreme Court after rejecting the judgment by the Presidential Election Petitions Court, which dismissed their petitions against the victory of President Bola Tinubu at the polls in February. Atiku said he will confront the war ahead by going to the apex court and will not throw in the towel and validate what he describes as, quote, mandate banditry. And this comes as the judgment was devoid of substantial justice, in his words. This was as the Labour Party candidate. Obi also said he will not give up his quest for justice, stressing that the ruling at the tribunal is not coterminous, quote, with justice. The position of both men comes as the All Progressives Congress and its government have continued to savour the victory at the court, which was delivered on the day that President Bola Tinubu's administration was marking its 100 days in office, marking an end to its honeymoon period. The appellants have 21 days to complete their appeal, while the Supreme Court has 60 days or 2 months within which to determine the appeal and give a final verdict. But this comes even as the governing APC has appealed to Atiku and Obi to accept defeat and engage in nation building with President Bola Tinubu. This is as the Special Assistant on Communications to Atiku Abubakar has moments ago called on the Presidential Election Petitions Court to explain to Nigerians and the world how the header of Tinubu Presidential Legal Team was on the CTC copies of its judgment. So what lies ahead of the Tinubu administration as it continues to face a challenge to its mandate from the opposition amidst the need to face the critical issues of governance in the midst of the current socio-economic turmoils? Well, to help us take a look at the times fast spent in office by the Tinubu administration and the election judgment fallout, we have joining us in the studio a former member of the dissolved APC Presidential Campaign Council, Media Directorate, Biodun Ajiboye. He likes calling himself Otumba Biodun Ajiboye. So
no, I don't like calling myself. I was properly installed as an Otumba Muagun of Uru Kingdom. Okay. I don't like calling myself. That is what I am.
Okay. Very interesting indeed.
Thank you.
So good to have you back again.
Fantastic, my brother.
You've been on what looks like a sort of break. Why has that happened?
Nothing. The rigors of that campaign was quite big, and it's only reasonable to relax for a while and recuperate. And today I'm here because it is extremely essential for me to be here.
Okay.
Successfully, we have been 100 days in government, and that makes a lot of that makes me very happy. And
it comes on. I mean, that 100 day came on the same day that the Presidential Election Petitions Court was delivering that judgment. Let's take a look at what the opposition political parties are saying and their candidates. Atiku Abubakar says that this judgment is bereft of substantial justice, while Peter Obi is saying that, look, this is not enough for us to be able to say that there's justice, that there's difference between judgment and justice, and that most Nigerians, we can all see, are not even on the streets celebrating with the APC. Talk to us about all of that.
It sounds like suddenly those two men have become serious lexicon of jurisprudence. They now begin to define judgment and color judgment the way they feel, Well, naturally, when someone loses, it hurts. The two men are hurting from their loss. It's a natural process in life. But when the judgment of Osun came against APC in favor of PDP, there was no truncation of justice. There was no travesty of justice. There was no comment. When the judgment of Obi, when Obi reclaimed his judgment from the Supreme Court in Anambra, it was all right. So, if we call ourselves Democrats, we should be able to take the pain of loss. If we do not have that kind of mindset, we don't have any business in politics. Because when you get into politics, it's either you win or you lose. Those two men have lost gallantly, and they will continue to lose until another election. I tell you that for free.
Well, they say the judgment was full of technicalities. The judges didn't look at the substantial issues in the case. Witnesses that were subpoenaed were actually dismissed by these judges. And of course, they fear for the future. What's your response?
They are not fearing for the future. They are fearing for themselves. People should learn to put issues right. We are not morons in this country that want some men will just come and use language in a way that will suit them and feel everybody will buy into it.
Well,
what exactly?
When you say morons, you know, we're on TV.
No, I'm sorry. We are not fools. I'm sorry for the language.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the language. But we can understand. There's a legal process. Everybody involved, they had an opportunity to argue their cases. They did actually argue their cases sufficiently. If the argument of their lawyers, was not sufficient or convincing enough for the judges, and the judges gave judgment the way they felt right, professionally felt right, what is the essence of now trying to make the judgment look, dissatisfactory and injurious to jurisprudence? That is, you cannot, because you are losing a case, denigrate the judiciary. That is not proper. They should always understand that the political system is a combination of them, us, and even other people. Therefore, preservation of the political system is very important to us, to Nigeria. By extension, respect for the judiciary is key. You don't begin to denigrate the judiciary because it hasn't gone your way. It doesn't make sense. If you say to me that 176,000 polling booths or so had irregularities, even with my common sense, I'm not a lawyer, even with common sense, you say 176,000 polling booths had irregularities, but you fail to produce one polling booth with figures that will show that irregularity, and you think that the judges will take you seriously. How come they did not call one witness to say from that polling booth among their followers to say, okay, yes, this is what happened in my polling booth?
They had 13 witnesses called. Only 3 were accepted by the court, and 10 were 10 of those
thrown out.
Yeah, 10 of those were thrown out.
Yes, because you can't be reprobating and approbating at the same time. You cannot. There's a principle in law they call nemo judex in causa sua. You can't be a judge in your own. You are not the judge. You have presented a case to the judge. The judge has a responsibility, a professional responsibility at that, to peruse your case.
Yeah, but they said they took the leave of the court to actually subpoena some of those witnesses. How come the same court decided to throw 10 out of their 13 to dance for the Labour Party?
Yes, I'm sure you know very well that I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, but you just quoted
But I have common sense.
Okay, you have an understanding of law.
Of course, I did a couple of courses in law, and I know a bit of it. You see, for me, honestly speaking, if you go to court to say there are, you see, how do you even go to court to say that the whole of the polling booths in Nigeria had irregularities? So those ones that are in your favor, what happens to them? I don't get,
Right.
Common sense is not even on their side. I really can't understand. I'm talking to you personally as a human being. I do not understand their case. Even to me, they don't have a lot of merits.
Now let's talk about this latest development that is coming on. The Atiku's aide, Frank Shaibu, has just said now that the document that had the verdict of the Presidential Petitions Court had Tinubu's, legal team typed on it and all of that. Does it in any way mean that maybe Tinubu's team had access to it before others? And why should that be? Shouldn't it be that is those who need to appeal that should have had this, if that was the case, that there's need for more explanation by the court? Do you have any hindsight?
I do not have any hindsight, but if they have any issue, they should go back to court. One of the major problems they had was attempting to give media justice or media, whatever you call it, to come on social media, create a scenario of fear, a scenario of intimidation, and believing that will help their case. They have started. They haven't learned. See, because if I were them, I will de-emphasize my presence on social media because it had no contribution, it had no significance to how the case. It's even making your case worse because social media does not have any impact in how the judgment is perused or processed.
Okay, let's take a look at how
if they think that Tinubu media office or whatever is on the letterhead, let them go to court again and start to blow money on that. It's fine, it's fair. Okay. They shouldn't engage Nigerians in such trivialities.
This is politics. Now, let's talk about how the APC has been receiving this judgment and all of that. The opposition say we didn't see lots of Nigerians on the street celebrating with you and President Tinubu. What actually happened? How come APC members are not so much on the street to celebrate? Or is it the economy that's affecting them? And then secondly, we saw only President Tinubu enjoying himself in India and with his team. Talk to us about how APC and the president have been receiving this victory.
See, let me tell you, both Peter Obi and Abubakar Atiku and their followers do not actually understand the mood in APC. APC, we came to power with a serious mindset. We can appreciate the enormity of the problems in Nigeria. And we came to power, we came to government because we now know that we are saddled with high responsibility and heavy expectations from people. As a result of that, a serious-minded leader like Bola Tinubu does not have time for frivolities.
Including his own victory?
What victory?
Well, we saw him.
Is that not enough for any normal standard? Well, or do we need to roll out drums on the streets? What are we celebrating when our country is going down by the minute? We have a responsibility to rescue Nigeria. Shouldn't that be a more important issue?
Well, interesting indeed, considering...
Everybody in APC, including me, know that we must do something spectacular to revamp, to save Nigeria from a collapse.
And that brings me back to the issue we raised earlier, the issue of Tinubu clocking 100 days, especially on that date, September 6th, when the tribunal handed that victory to him. Let's talk about Tinubu's last 100 days and some of the steps he has taken. What's been your view in terms of the economy? Because a lot of people are saying that the monies in their pockets are unable to meet their demands and that APC's renewed hope promises need to really be put to test.
See, Nigeria has been patching since 1979. I started to know governments from Gowon 1973. I was 10 years old. So see, if we continue to patch Nigeria, by the time Nigeria goes down, everybody will go down. We need a leader who can salvage the circumstance. 1. 2, there is no way you want to salvage the enormity of rot in Nigeria without pain. Anybody who tells you there will be no pain is a joker. See, for God's sake, in less than 100 days, government had saved 1.83 trillion,
you mean?
Trillion naira. Our budget, the totality of our budgets was running on probably slightly less than 5 trillion, if you remember. So in 2 months, we saved 1.8 trillion. Doesn't that tell you that there is something abnormally wrong with Nigeria economic system?
Yeah, but a lot of people are still going hungry.
I'm trying to make a point. The point I'm making is that with the removal of fuel subsidy, there would be pains. Now, the money will be plowed back into the system, which cannot be automatic, like taking money out of your wallet and giving your child. It will take a process and a procedure. This man, I can tell you, the 100 days I have seen, remains the best Nigerian leader we have ever had. Quote me. Well, no, I'm the one speaking. I can back my point up. Okay, I can back myself up.
Too,
I am saying, I knew all of them.
100
I've told you that I've started knowing.
Explain to us why you think Tinubu's 100 days are better.
I'll tell you, I've started knowing presidents since 1973. At that time, I could read newspapers. I was 10 years old. So I know everybody's attributes. And I can tell you that I don't think we have ever had a leader who was a captain of a private sector business practice. Or you know, or private sector. This is a private sector person who has brought his wealth of experience to governance, and we can see what is going on here. It's not a joke. So look at the harmonization of the dual forex regimes.
Hasn't that led Nigeria to having close to the naira close to 1,000 naira to a dollar?
I've just told you, surgeries are meant to relieve a permanent pain. But the moment you do the surgery, there will be pain shortly after surgery. You don't appreciate foundation of a house. You appreciate the roof. Therefore,
but the foundation is very important.
Yes, but
and it's the one that the structure lies on top.
Fantastic. The philosophy I'm drawing here is simple. You don't go and see foundation and say, oh, this is a beautiful foundation. Nobody does that. Therefore, this is a period of foundation of a structure. I don't expect anybody to say, oh, this is beautiful. No. By the time the structures begin to lay and we get to the roof, you say this is a building. This is the way it goes.
Yeah, but the thinking within some Nigerians is that President Tinubu did not calculate the issue of fuel subsidy removal properly, preparing room for palliatives and all of that before making the announcement. What was Tinubu doing between when he was declared and May 29? Does it mean that there was no particular plan as to, okay, if I'm going to mention this, this is going to be the aftermath in terms of palliatives? Because people are accusing him of thinking just when he's in government, not before.
Let me tell you something. The public is polarized. The public is polarized. The audience is demarcated along sentimental lines.
Well, that's what politics is all about.
No, we never had it so bad. We never had it so bad in this country. What that means is that every step Bola Tinubu takes, you have some obedience who would hack it down and they won't even see anything good in it. Left for me as a person, and I told you this many years back, 2-3 years ago, I said, Bola Tinubu will win, and I will come back here with my head raised so high, and I will tell you Nigeria has got it right at last. So we cannot be moving forward and be looking back.
So is Tinubu proving them wrong?
It is. How do you measure a leader? You measure a leader by the content and the potency of his vision. A man went to India and told the audience, hey, we are not a poor country. We have got enormous resources. We have got enormous human capital. What we lack is management and leadership. That is a vision. That is vision being expressed. You see, to measure leadership is by the content of what the brain of the leader dishes out. If a leader does not have a vision, he cannot have a mission. If he does not have a mission, he cannot have a strategy. If he does not have a strategy, you are all heading for the doom.
Now,
therefore,
100 days into office, you've seen the labor unions going on strike. You've seen Nigerians saying that, look, President Tinubu needs to do some urgent reforms quickly. Yes, while it's appreciated that he removed fuel subsidy, unifying the exchange rate, but in terms of economic development, people need to see more concrete plans apart from the ones announced on palliatives. How soon do we get to see that?
Sooner. The man went to India. You could see that from India, we are looking at close to $40 to $50 billion investment coming to Nigeria. If anybody doesn't understand that as positive development, I am beginning to be afraid.
How soon do we expect this to germinate?
Now, you see, when you see from the move of Bola Tinubu, you can see the impact of a fantastic businessman, and the business community respects him because they know him as part of them. He was active in oil and gas. He was active in finance. He was active in a couple of even real estates. That man knows business. And when a businessman becomes a president, you can see the way the business community is, rallying around him. And Elumelu assured the Indian business community that you will have dividends for your investment in Nigeria. Look at those signs. Those are the signs you see for greatness. We need to be very, very attentive. We need to be appreciative. We need to encourage him to be able to deliver. That man will deliver. Hold me responsible if he doesn't.
Okay, very interesting. I hope Nigerians are listening so that if Tinubu doesn't deliver, you'll be held responsible. All right, let's talk about politics again. The statement made by Kashim Shettima that he had retired Atiku Abubakar to Fombina, he will go there to start rearing, engaging in animal husbandry and all of that. Atiku Abubakar and all of that are hitting back and saying that, look, this is not what it means to be a vice president. Look, Kashim Shettima, you're the vice president of the country. You need to weigh your words before you say it. But
so when it came to that, they recognized him as vice president, but the judgment that stamped him as vice president was anyway.
Isn't he politics. A statesman now?
No, he is a statesman. But don't forget that we are politicians. Throwing jab is not abnormal in politics. My principal, Bola Tinubu, took so much jabs. The man is so magnanimous that even those that abused him, the young man that the Honorable Minister Bosun, there was nothing Bosun did not say against us. Yet he had the magnanimity of heart to say, Bosun, come and be a minister. That is a politician. That is a leader who knows that after I've won election, I have business to do. Even if the color of the tone of Bosun's speech is dirty, his brain is clean, let him come and use his brain to salvage Nigeria. That is a leader. That the vice president threw jab at Atiku Abubakar. If I were Atiku Abubakar, 78-year-old man, a former vice president, a reputable politician, I will ignore that. It's not an important issue at all. All
right, and that brings me back to why you yourself, we had been expecting the president's list with your name. We didn't see your name on any of the list. I don't know, maybe yours is being expected in the ambassadorial or any other ones coming up. And then, of course, let's talk about the campaign group. Some of the independent campaign groups are also crying out that, look, it looks like Tinubu is bringing some people who didn't campaign for him into his government, while those that campaigned still in the trenches, if I may say so.
Well, my brother Sumna, I'll tell you something very clearly. I'll tell you something very clearly. It is only reasonable for them to expect reward for their hard work. Unfortunately, the past government was not a rewarding government and did not take the people that worked very hard for them very seriously. In my personal situation, I started following Asiwaju because of what I saw as his dexterity in Lagos. I got introduced to Asiwaju by Abubakar Rimi in 2006. And my interest in Asiwaju was basically because growing up in Lagos, I'd never seen any government developing Lagos the way Asiwaju did. So I was very, very impressed. And I organized a program called Developmental Democracy. I said the man should come and speak about it. Because developmental democracy to me was, so this democracy they are talking about can actually come with development, roads, electricity, everything. I had my personal conviction. And that was why I went into the campaign with everything I had. It's not so much of benefit for me as a person. But of course, in politics, there are only two things you work for. What you want to be, what you want to be, definitely, to be able to give back to the society. So, and I know that Asiwaju does not and never forget those who work hard.
You think so? Because someone like Kayode Fayemi is already crying foul so quickly that the democracy under the development...
Kayode Fayemi should not cry foul. He was governor first time, he was governor second time, he was minister. What about those who are his age, who had contributed more and had never been anything? People should be moderate.
Isn't it because some of those who have contributed to Tinubu's campaign are expecting some rewards and they are here to get it?
I do not personally see why government, Bola Tinubu should be recycling a lot of people. Give other people opportunities so that is why we can have a well-developed template and environment. But
is he prepared for the backlash, like we've already said?
Well, because if we manage the backlash...
Fayemi's on is already like a tone, setting the tone for what may lie ahead.
Governor Fayemi should be magnanimous and be moderate. If he doesn't get now, it doesn't mean anything. He's been in government forever. Some people have been... Okay, Dele Alake was last commissioner in Lagos. And from that time till now, it was never anything. Didn't he live his life? People should understand. I have never held any government position.
Yeah, but the campaign groups, how about those people who are followers very quickly as we try to...
We are making arrangements are being made to recognize them. Asiwaju has been told sufficiently that the best way we can hold ourselves together is to recognize those who put in so much hard work into the campaign. And he agreed. He agreed absolutely. And that plan is going on. I would just want to appeal to the support groups to be calm and just please give government a bit of time to put a few things together. In a couple of days, 1 week or so, appointment will flush out. We are not going to act
Tinubu is back from India.
Yes, we are not going to act like people who feel...
so Tinubu is coming back from India with an Indian magic, if I may call it that.
With a lot of hope.
With the magic wand from India. Okay.
With a lot of hope
so very quickly, how much do you think this appeal at the Supreme Court of this judgment from the Presidential Election Petitions Court can affect Tinubu as he goes on? The Supreme Court has 60 days within which to deliver. Should Tinubu still be apprehensive as to whether it may still come his way or not?
See, if you listened to that judgment, like I expect you would, you will know that judgment is watertight. It will take some extreme situation for that judgment to be upturned. However, it is not likely that judgment can be upturned. Well,
the Labour Party and PDP currently disagree with you because they feel that the Supreme Court
they want to
will give them more assurance.
They want to give more business to their lawyers. That's why they are. Otherwise, why would anybody listen to that judgment and still proceed to court?
Okay.
On what basis?
Just quickly, also, what's the word to the appointees made by President Tinubu ahead as the government has ended its honeymoon period and it's about to go full swing into governance?
I personally, from my heart, want to appeal to anybody appointed by Bola Tinubu to please, for God's sake, be serious. We suffered for this victory. This victory did not come on a platter of gold. And therefore, if anybody knows that it does not mean well, it should just leave this appointment. This government must not fail.
Well, in Nigeria, people don't leave appointment; they are fired. So
yes, I pray Asiwaju will fire whoever does not perform.
It's left for your principal
we cannot
to
fail.
detect
We must
them
not
and
fail.
they know what to do.
We
But
must
thank
fail.
you so much.
Thank you, my brother.
Biodun Ajiboye is a member of the defunct APC Presidential Media Campaign Directorate, and we must thank you so much for helping us to understand all of these things that are being said by the opposition and how prepared they are. And of course, how prepared Tinubu's government is to offer Nigerians good governance as he has got his election being stamped by the Election Petitions Court. And of course, the appellants are saying that they're going to the Supreme Court. That's the opposition political party. So we are all awaiting the Supreme Court's decision in 60 days. But we must thank you immensely for being here with us. We hope to see you again.